Okay, in this video we're going to talk about how to find the financial information of a public company. So I'm going to show you my computer screen and how you'll go about the process of finding the financial statements and footnotes of a public company. So let's take a look. So here we're going to start on Bing. Okay, this is the best place to start your searching. Not really, but sometimes I like the pictures on Bing. And the website I'm going to go to find financial information. And by the way, let's talk about what company we want to find. And I thought it might be interesting to find financial information for the company Amazon. So let's find the financial statements and footnotes for Amazon. And the website I'm going to go to find the information is the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission's website. And I'll go to sec.gov, sec.gov, and I'll hit enter. So here's the website of the Securities and Exchange Commission. When a company becomes public, they're required to make their filings on this website. So all of their quarterly and annual reports, their registration statements, their unscheduled event statements, their proxy statements to announce a shareholder meeting, their insider trading disclosures, all of that stuff is filed on this website, the Securities and Exchange Commission. And when I want to find the filings of a specific company, I'll go over here to Filings and down to Company Filings Search. And now it says Company and Person Lookup. So I'm going to look up a company in this box here, and I'm just going to type in the name of the company, Amazon. And I'm going to search for Amazon. See, you can see it's auto-populating all these different company names that have Amazon in it, but I'm just going to search and see what comes up here. So here's the list of all of those company names that have the word Amazon in it, and sometimes it takes a little guess and checking to make sure you find the right company. But here, the third one down, I'm finding Amazon.com Inc. Okay, that sounds like the right company. And you can see the industry they're in is retail, catalog, and mail order. So that sounds about right. So I'm going to click on their CIK number here. So this is how the SEC identifies companies, is with a CIK number, which is, I think, Central Index Key or something like that. But SEC assigns each unique company a unique CIK number. I'll click on it, and it'll pull up all of the filings for Amazon. Okay, and I recommend this view. So let me actually start this over and see if I can get it to give me the wrong view. So if I click on just this auto-populated thing here, it brings me to this view, which I really don't prefer. So the SEC started giving you this page when you click on that auto-populated thing, and I can't figure out. This is new to me. Maybe you can figure it out, but what I prefer is what they're calling the classic version. So I always click on this classic version link to get myself to something I'm used to. So here's for Amazon, okay? They're in Washington, that's their state location, but they're incorporated in Delaware, of course they are. Their year end is 12/31. And here's a chronological, I guess it's reverse chronological listing of all the filings that Amazon has made to the SEC. And what I'm going to do is show you how to find their financial statements. First of all, they file their quarterly financial statements. So each quarter that goes by, they'll file Form 10Q, right? And that's the most recent filing that they've made. That was on July 30th, 2021, that they filed their most recent 10Q. In this class, we're primarily going to be interested in annual financial statements because those are the easiest to evaluate when you're learning accounting. And so we're going to skip over this 10Q for now. But right below it, you see they filed an 8K, which is a material unscheduled event. Okay, I'll skip a couple of these filings. I'll just point out a couple that we're used to, okay, that we've actually talked about. There's their prior 10Q and another 8K. Here's a Def 14A, okay, that's a proxy statement. So that's to prepare all of the Amazon shareholders for the shareholder meeting. So it gives them all the information they need to know so that they're informed for the meeting, hopefully. They have an interesting form here called Iran notice. So you're required to file this if you do business with Iran for some reason. Okay. And finally, we've arrived at their most recent Form 10K. And this was filed on February 3rd, 2021. And I'm just going to click on this Documents button right next to the 10K so I can get to the financial statements. So I'll click on Documents. And here it pulls up a list of all the documents that are associated with this filing. And the first one is typically the one you're interested in, okay? And this has a description called 10K, and here's the document link. So I'll just click on this HTML link, and it brings me to what I was looking for, okay? So this is the Form 10K of Amazon. This is their most recent fiscal year end, so it's for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2020 for Amazon.com Inc. And here's just some basic information about Amazon. You know, if you want to buy their stock, you look for the trading symbol AMZN. They trade on NASDAQ. And so they've got some basic information at the beginning here. And then typically companies will have an index, right? A table of contents. And there's lots of information in this 10K. In this class, pretty much the only piece of information we'll be talking about is in item 8 of the 10K. So in Form 10K, it'll be item 8, and it's the financial statements. And I argue it's probably, it's among the most important aspects to Form 10K. So I'm actually just going to click on this link so that I go directly to this item 8 in the filing. You could scroll down until you find it, right? But that kind of gets us dizzy when you watch it on a video. So I'm just going to click the link. And so here it's brought me to item 8, financial statements, and it gives me the index to the financial statements. So they tell you they start with their audit firm opinion report. Then they give you their financial statements, so their statement of cash flows, statement of operations, which is another name for the income statement, statement of comprehensive income, which is just an extra small statement. Here's their balance sheet, their statement of stockholders' equity, and the footnotes to the financial statements. But rather than clicking on any of these links, I'm just going to scroll down. So the first thing that Amazon gives you is something not written by Amazon, okay? This is a letter written by an independent third-party auditor. And what they are doing is giving you their opinion on the financial statements. So they've audited the financial statements that we're about to see, and they are telling you that we've audited it, and we think you can trust what you find in the financial statements. And this whole paragraph is just talking about how they did procedures meant to get assurance that the financial statements and footnotes are fairly stated. Okay, so this is an independent third party telling you that in their opinion you can trust the financial statements. But we'll scroll down to the actual financial statements. So the first one that Amazon discloses is their statement of cash flows, which is slightly unusual. Typically companies will start with an income statement or balance sheet. Amazon starts with their statement of cash flows, and here they present it here. They'll present it for the prior 3 years. Always be careful of what order they're presenting it in. Typically companies, the first column here will be the most recent year, and then it'll work backwards. Amazon does the opposite. They like to see time progressing from left to right, I suppose. So anyway, there's their cash flow statement. Below their cash flow statement, they give you their income statement. And their income statement is they call it their statement of operations, which is just another word for their income statement. And here they say all the numbers are in millions. Okay, so when you see total net sales for Amazon in 2020, 386,064, you need to multiply that by 1 million. So that's actually $386 billion of revenue for Amazon. And in terms of their net income, it's down here at $21.3 billion of net income for Amazon during the year ended December 31st, 2020. And you can see that their net income increased wildly from 2019 to 2020. Okay, it increased very significantly during the year of the pandemic, 2020. Next is just a small statement that we'll talk about later in the semester. It's the statement of comprehensive income, and it has some slightly unusual items on it. And finally, we get to the balance sheet. Okay, so this will contain the assets, liabilities, and equity of Amazon as of a point in time. So just as of December 31st, 2020, here are the balances of all their asset, liabilities, and equity accounts. And we'll see that if you look at assets, here are all their individual assets totaling $321.1 billion. And you'll see 321.1, if you go down to total equity plus liabilities, 321.1, right? Assets equals liabilities plus equity. So here is the balance sheet that contains point-in-time balances of all of these balance sheet accounts. And finally, so there's the statement of stockholders' equity as well, which we'll get to at the end of the semester. And the last thing I'll say is below the financial statements is something we'll learn a lot about during the semester. You can't just rely on the financial statements alone. The footnotes that appear below the financial statements provide really important context to what you're seeing in the financial statements. And sometimes they have lots of information that you can't figure out from the financial statements alone. So we'll learn a lot of important information from the footnotes. And they'll have many different notes. Here's note 1, where they're just giving you kind of description of the company and their accounting policies, okay? And so, for example, if you're interested in Amazon's revenue accounting policy, here it is, right here, okay? So here's how they talk about how they measure revenue. Remember, revenue is reported on the income statement. If you want to know the rules and the guidelines they're following to produce that revenue number, you would come down here and read further. And all of these footnotes will tell you very important information about what you're seeing or sometimes not seeing on the financial statements above. Okay, so footnotes tend to be pretty long, and they're separated into different categories. So here's a footnote about property and equipment, which you'll find on the balance sheet, and it just gives you a little bit more information about these accounts. Okay, so that was all I wanted to go through from start to finish of finding the financial statements and footnotes of a public company. And you'll use this skill quite a lot during the semester and hopefully in your careers.